Hello everyone, welcome to this week's GT Sport Daily Race C Race and Strategy Guide, week number 10, the first week since Gran Turismo 7 has launched. Takes Daily Race C to Lago Maggiore West configuration, and we are in the Group 2 cars. 15 laps to get round, tyre wear at times 7, fuel at times 2, medium and hard tyres available, both of which should be mandatory. BOP is on, damage is off, it's a rolling start and slipstream is real. And yes, there is a certain amount of irony as I put this video together. The first Daily Race C racing strategy guide since Gran Turismo 7 launched, that the daily racing in Gran Turismo Sport this week is far superior to any kind of daily racing you can find on Gran Turismo 7. And for Daily Race C, PD have offered up a little bit of a gem in my opinion. Now I know Lago Maggiore is overused and people get very fed up of it, but I do think that the West configuration is probably the nicest of the lot, and this is an original combination as well, with the Group 2 cars around this track and a little bit of strategy thrown in there as well. It is actually a fantastic Daily Race C. So let's move on to that strategy. Let's take a look at the medium hard strategy first. You can see my crossover lap time there is 1:15.8. So what do I mean by that crossover lap time? Well, essentially, before I do any kind of race run, I jump on the hard tyre, I get up to speed on the hard tyre, I see what kind of lap time I'm capable of doing on that hard tyre. Therefore, when I jump on to do the full race run on the medium tyres, I've got an idea what kind of lap time I'm capable of on the hard tyres, and I know once I get to that point in the race where I am going to sort of lapping around about that pace that I know I can do on the hard tyres, it's time to be considering that pit stop. And so when this race run went on, I did think that kind of crossover lap time would come a little bit sooner than lap 12, but you can see from the lap times on the right hand side they were just very, very consistent. The medium tyres just kept performing, just kind of gradually losing half a tenth here per lap, and it wasn't until lap number 11 where we did a 1:15.892 where we actually kind of breached that crossover lap time. So coming to the end of lap number 12, we're going to come into the pit lane as we come into the last corner, and we'll get an idea of the pit loss and the fuel. So into the pit lane we come. Now Lago Maggiore is traditionally a little bit shorter than most tracks out there, and Group 2 does tend to be a little bit shorter than kind of the likes of Group 3 and Group 4 as well. But when it's all said and done, we spent 3 seconds stationary to get those tyres changed, 18.8 seconds within the pit lane, and it results in a 14-second loss on the track. So not too long at all, but long enough to kind of rule out anything like a 2 stop. Fuel is no issue as you would expect. We've not had anything other than fuel times 2 in Daily Race C for quite some time now. So coming to the end of the race run here, you can see our first lap on the hard tyres, a 1:15.5, so the vast majority of our medium lap times were quicker than that, and we actually do a 1:15.9 to finish. So yeah, you can run very, very deep into the race on the medium tyres if you start on them. You're looking at around about lap 10 and 11 for most people out there. If you have to be good on the tyres, you can probably stretch that out to lap 12. But decent length Daily Race C as well, 19 minutes at 11.7 being our finishing time, so that is very nice to see indeed. Now normally at this point I would then jump on to do the hard medium strategy, but I definitely felt like I learnt enough from doing the medium hard strategy to give you an idea on how that strategy is going to work out. Generally, if you can run very deep into the race on the softer tyre, then you know you can do even a longer stint when you do the opposite strategy. But we'll talk about that in a wee second. Let's just sort of reiterate what we learned there on the medium hard strategy. You can run very deep into the race as tyre degradation is quite low. Most people should be fine for 10 laps depending on whether you're using the pad, a wheel and what car you're in. If you're pretty good on tyres, somebody like myself, I'm pretty good on tyres, definitely my biggest attribute in the game, I would be looking to go as far as lap 12. But yeah, you can run pretty deep into the race. Now do remember, if you start on the medium tyres and you have some hard runners in front of you, you could run into some issues, so it's always recommended if you're going to start on the mediums to be starting near the front front of the grid where you can kind of utilise that pace. Looking at the opposite strategy of the hard medium, if you're starting in the hard, you can consider pitting as early as lap 1, only if you're very good on tyres. Most players should consider laps 2 to 4. Definitely don't go any further than lap 4, you'll just get massively undercut by everybody else. And as always, the hard medium strategy is about that balance of how big of an undercut do you get by pitting early versus how worn your tyres are at the end. This is not a track that's particularly difficult to overtake on because of that long straight up towards the big banky boys, so do bear that in mind as well. But let's finish the video off with a little bit of a lap guide in the Lexus here, and as you come down towards turn number 1, you're looking for the 100 metre board, but you can brake quite a little bit beyond that, maybe around about 80 metres for turn number 1. Keep the hairpin nice and tight for turn number 3 here, just kind of let off the throttle a little bit, throw the car in. The car will try to understeer because it's slightly off camber, but quicker you can exit that corner, you carry that speed all the way up this straight towards the big bad corner. About midway through the lap, you're looking for the black box on the left hand side of the track. Now you can go a little bit beyond that, maybe even the end of the green wall, throw the car in, lots of camber there so you can actually carry a little bit more speed than you might expect. Don't put a wheel on the sand at the exits, that probably will spin you out. Full throttle up through the fast left and right hander here, very nice indeed. And you're looking for the 50 metre board, you probably won't get quite to the 50 metre board for the fast right hander. Treat these two corners almost as one corner, and don't run wide on the exit there or you can pick up a half-second penalty. The 50 metre board is your friend for the last corner. You actually take a slightly wide line, you cut in a little bit early, right over the use lots of that curb, and then let the car drift wide to accelerate over the start-finish line. And that is a lap of Lago Maggiore West in the Lexus RCF from Group 2. As I said, very, very interesting times where the kind of daily racing is a lot better on sport this week than anything you can find on Gran Turismo 7, and as such I have no interest whatsoever in doing the daily races as they stand on Gran Turismo 7, so we are going to be streaming this one at some point on Monday. Do join me for that if you can, should be fun, be interesting actually just to see what kind of population is on Gran Turismo Sport at the moment with the fresh daily races. But yeah, if you can join me for that, please do, and if you've liked the video up to this point, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.